This is TWiT.
One theme that's been pretty regular for me, at least this year, has been this concept of how web browsers are about to change dramatically because of AI.
Arc.
Yeah, and Arc was a big part of it, obviously, and a big part of that discussion, a big part of the reason for that discussion.
It was the first time that you show me a new browser, we're like, this is different.
Right. And then if you look at Dia, you're like, oh, this is different too. Opera's doing this with their Neon browser. Google, Microsoft are taking more of a kind of a conservative approach, but we're going to, AI is going to be everywhere. I mean, we all know this, but it's going to fundamentally change the way we use these products. I mean, browsers are, I think, inarguably the most important app that we use, regardless of the device. I mean, it's a lot of people can do everything in the browser, really, which was the inspiration for the Arc stuff. But what that's going to look like is, still up in the air. It's still debatable. Perplexity today, and I haven't had a chance to look at this a lot because it just had 2 seconds before I started to, sign in for the show. I saw this. You can now try their browser called Comet. This is an AI browser.
Well, you can if you're a $200 a month Perplexity.
Okay, sorry. Okay, that's like I said. I have not.
You missed that little detail.
Okay,
I will do it as soon as they give it to the regular.
Yes.
I subscribe.
Which they'll do over time, right?
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, so all of these AI chatbot models, whatever, have this $200 a month tier now for some reason. I guess it's like,
expensive,
people will spend that,
and people will pay
we'll do it too.
Yeah.
This could be very interesting for a lot of reasons, but if you look at the little video they made, it looks a lot like the things that the browser company, which makes Arc and Dia and Opera and others have been talking about, which is it's a little hokey at first because it's kind of working with the UI as it is today, but you're basically seeing it run the websites to do the thing you want it to do and then coming back with whatever it is you asked for, right? And so that could be like filling out forms and like searching for different things or looking for the best price on a thing or whatever it might be, but it's doing it in the like in the window or whatever, and then it's over on the side. It's like, okay, here you go. And it's almost like a reasoning model, the way it will kind of sit there and churn text, but it's doing it with the content in the browser across services that it does not own or control. And like I said, I think this is going to change things a lot. Some of it will be that Copilot experience, which is such a great, side-by-side experience where maybe there's a long video and you just want to be like, okay, what's the point? Or what are the 10 most important points from this that he makes in this, demonstration or whatever? And okay, fine. But a lot of it is this kind of, I guess we call it agenic capability where it goes out and does these things for you. And I think I said this maybe a week or two ago, but browser, the very name browsing, literally browsing, we were just nostalgic for whatever NTXP, whatever it was. And GeoCities and all the things that were common back then, you would browse through the limited selection of websites and you would literally browse. You would read and whatever. And I think we've all lost our attention spans, but AI is also teaching us not to do any work at all. And now you could just be like, look, I don't have time for this 6,000 word Thurrott article. Just what is he saying? And it's like, as it turns out, you can condense it down to a single sentence. What a jerk. Here's the, right?
I got your rage right here.
Yeah. There's a lot of complaining, and then he just says this. Yeah. So, I mean, but or a video or whatever it is, right? I mean, and I think the fundamental change is going to be, well, there's a couple, but browsing as we think of it is going to kind of go away as the primary activity in a browser, right? It makes the name a little strange, but also maybe the browser itself eventually goes away because these things will essentially happen in the background. You might have a natural language conversation with whatever bots or agents or whatever you want to call them, and they just kind of do it for you, and they contact you later to let you know. And maybe in the beginning it's running a website, but maybe those websites evolve to address the back end service based model that this is, right?
You're heading towards the AR world, right? This is the interface for the browser. Just show me what I want to look at. Like, I just cat videos at all times.
I'm not sure I really want that much AI in my browser. To be honest.
I know it's a tough one. It's but this is like I have to remind myself of this. This is the argument that one would make against this is the same argument that someone would have made when they owned one of the first vehicles and they knew how to fix it. And then cars got good enough that you didn't have to be a mechanic.
Mhm.
And they were like, I still want to do it that way. Or we've moved from stick shifts to automatics. So no, I want to control there's always that resistance because you have built up incredible skills for the thing that it was, and I do this we all do it. This is not a criticism of anybody.
I agree. And I think that's a very real thing. But I think there's also a very real shittification of everything.
Yeah.
And I am not sure whether it's the former, what you just described, or the latter, what I just
Well, it's
described.
technology, so it's both. So
I feel like
literally,
it may just
it's
be
literally
putting
both.
crap in my browser for no good reason.
The first versions will be nice, and then they'll get progressively worse.
I'm a lifetime reader. I have a hard time reading long things now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
I read every day.
Yeah.
Every day. I read in the morning. I read during the day. I read before I go to bed every night. And I struggle with it. And a lot of it is just this kind of implicit training of content consumption that occurs when you have the entire world at your fingertips and get an answer in 2 seconds. So my fear is the Isaac Asimov Foundation trilogy. It's the future. We have all this incredible technology. There is no one who knows how it works, how to fix it. And if those things break, we are devolving and back to cavemen. And that's the fear. It's I already am part of the problem. Like if society devolved, the apocalypse happened, whatever it was, you'd have to eat me because I don't have a skill that would be useful to anybody.
Grow your own food, Paul.
Right. I can't hammer 2 pieces of wood together. I can't fix a vehicle. I can't, grow food. I could be food, but that's like literally the only benefit I would bring to this story. Right. And I think we're all going to be like that eventually. Like we're just going to be like the Wall-E guys, like the fat
floating
things
around
on
in
platters
our
running,
chairs.
floating around, like here's the turkey dinner. No, that's the guy running the show.
Well, then the survivalists are probably right. They're out there chopping wood and storing water and building their own, beehives.
Sure. I mean, I don't have an answer. I think like everyone, I have worries and I have, I don't want biases. I don't know what to call them. This habits, the way I do things, whatever gets in the way. But I do look at things like this and I think, okay, this is pretty good. Mm-hmm. It's like, why wouldn't you want to use something that could give you the best price on a flight or, or whatever? Like you could talk
if it really
yourself
does
into
that. If it's not influenced by the airlines, they just nominated the CEO of an airline to be the chief of the FAA. Conflict of interest much? No.
Well,
this is the problem. And
that's the thing we talked about, locking the keys in the vault.
Yeah. And the thing we're worried about with AI is it is so expensive. It's inevitable that these results are going to start to be advertising driven.
Yeah.
And then they will
counter
really
to the FAA argument is you need an expert in that role, and somebody who's run an airline is an expert. The question is, where are the conflicts of interest?
I'm listening to a wonderful book that I highly recommend. Robert Caro, the guy who wrote The Power Broker and is writing the multi-volume history of LBJ, wrote a short book about his working style, his working habits, working. And one of the things he told about, one of the very first experiences he had as an investigative reporter, he was like an intern working the city desk on the weekend and nobody was there. And an FAA representative called and said, "You better send somebody down here. There's nobody here right now, but I have some stuff I want you to look at." And he called her. He couldn't get anybody. So he went down himself. Yeah. And he went through all the papers and he realized that the FAA was lobbying to take a large parcel of property in Long Island and make it an airport, not use it for what the locals wanted to do, which was to expand public education and to build a campus for the state, for the local university. Right.
So was this like a whistleblower type? He was
it was a whistleblower because the smoking gun was in there was that all the executives of the big companies that were headquartered in Long Island wanted to land their executive jets close to the company.
Right.
So they were lobbying. I don't know. They were influencing the FAA's decision. And that's just a small example.
This happens. This happens everywhere, and in big and small ways.
So you're really putting the fox in charge of the hen house.
I literally was looking to see what direction it was from where I'm sitting, but I'm not in Pennsylvania, so what I just did didn't make sense. But
well,
from
it's way up north.
Yeah, from my seat like this in Pennsylvania, right over there is a field surrounded by trees that's unused, but it's perfectly manicured. And I've asked about this a bunch, and I finally found out it was because the executive of a nearby hospital lived in a mansion behind there, and he wanted a helicopter pad so he could fly back and forth to work and not have any traffic in an area that has no traffic.
In a nutshell.
So this guy would just fly a helicopter to work because he's rich and
he doesn't
screw all the rest of you who don't want to hear that. Yeah.
So, but my point being, we're in late stage capitalism, and unfortunately, yes, you have these
like stage 4 cancer. Like,
yeah, it is.
Like,
it's like that. It's incurable.
Like,
and it's metastasizing. But it's why incurable. You could have these great technological innovations,
right?
But they get shitified very quickly. But this is a genuine concern now in AI. Is that soon the results will be tainted by ad results, right?
Well, I mean, it is a fact that AI is evolving at a rate that we've never seen with technology. Amazing. So it is reasonable to assume that the enshittification of AI will also occur at a rate that
you built it off. You built it off data on the internet, and the internet was built off the back of ads. So it's already in there.
That by itself, at least it would be an equal opportunity offender. But then they
stumbled into that, right? It wasn't like someone had a plan. This is how we're going to monetize the
CEO
internet.
of Perplexity said exactly that.
I mean with the internet. Like, in other words, that happened, and then we're here. Right. And now he's like, that's what we're going to do again.
I just think that the influence of money and greed is pervasive at this point. Yeah, and it's you can have great technological innovations, but they get tainted very quickly by greed.
Well, trying to make right now, none of those companies are making money.
Right.
Like they're on a burn rate here that's going to take them out if they don't find their way.
Yeah, it might not be greed, it might just be survival, right? Yeah.
Well, the two go pretty hand in hand too. Like
this has triggered some insanity, though, right? I mean,
well, look at Grok.
The world's biggest companies are
what happened
throwing
to Grok
away
this week?
tens of billions of dollars a quarter to build infrastructure. Like, what are you doing? Like, what?
Because they believe this is a disrupting moment.
There's an upside.
They want to be in front of it.
Yeah, there's same reason. But this is funded Uber for a decade without any
wag the dog stuff, right? They're making it a disruptive moment,
right?
Because now they're laying everybody off.
Some people, but not all of them. We only get so many chances to build a sovereign app, like the first app that people touch. Maybe it was Outlook, maybe it's Slack. It's always a browser. It has been for a long time. Most people's first touch of a machine is to open a browser, and
then use that to install Chrome.
They want their product to be your sovereign app, so you make a browser.
Right, and then this is just basic antitrust that has dated back to the beginning of two people bartering for something, where someone finally has enough power that they move from these win-win relationships where they're doing providing a service to just protectionism and protecting what they have, and then looking for other things they can dominate because now they have so much money they can afford just to buy their way into new markets.
I think the better mousetrap scenario is pretty small.
To temper what you're saying about this, I just want to point out that the Perplexity CEO says its browser, this one they announced today, will track everything users do online to sell hyper-personalized ads. This is from TechCrunch.
So I feel like this is not the way they would market it, but
he's the CEO.
But this is also TechCrunch taking that and making it the headline, right? Like
he says, this is the quote. That's kind of one of the other reasons we wanted to build a browser is we want to get data even outside the app to better understand you.
Yeah.
Because some of the prompts that people do in these AIs is purely work related. It's not like that's personal.
Yep.
Look, on the other hand, what are the things you're buying? Which hotels are you going to? Which restaurants are you going to? What are you spending time browsing? Tells us so much more about you.
Look,
we plan to. This is the smoking gun.
You're too smart for this.
We plan to use all the context to build a better user profile, and maybe through our Discover feed, we could show some ads there. Maybe.
So here's the thing. You're right. This is terrible. We we just talked about why no one cares about what you just said. And it's because we don't read anymore. We don't think. We've all given away everything so we can get to a location in the fastest way possible, Google Maps or whatever it is. Like when you tell people you shouldn't use Chrome because ... they're like, and then they just use Chrome. They don't care. We've already made this kind of implicit deal with the devil. So I have had people literally tell me when I've said to them, disable the feature in whatever the product is, Windows 11, Edge, Chrome, whatever, that is personalized advertising. And they said, well, if I'm going to see advertising, I'd rather see something that's relevant to me, which is dumb on two levels, because honestly, personalized advertising is ridiculous. It's actually not any better than actually regular advertising. It's still advertising. Like what? How about we don't see advertising? Would that be an acceptable outcome? But we're all just like, oh, whatever. I don't care. I don't have to pay for it. Everyone gives up their soul.
It's as if though your GPS said, the best route would be the one that goes by Arby's.
Right. If you would like,
so
we will order you food with your credit card,
the meats,
and it will be there waiting for you when you get there.
Exactly.
Yeah. This will add 3 minutes to your trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we're not too far from that.
That's exactly my point.
No, but listen, what you just said to any thinking person is ludicrous, should never happen. But someone out there is like, oh,
good idea.
Cool. Yeah. Right?
Why don't we do that?
Yeah. That's the
thing is, it's with AI, it's easy to kind of hide it. And we are getting more and more reliant on those little bullet points that the AI gives you. And so
no, we've lost the ability to read. We've lost the ability to think. And now we're not going to know when it's wrong. And we're just going to be like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Who do you think Aravind was talking to when he said that? Like, who was his intended audience?
It was actually this new daily news podcast, TBPN. It was an interview.
Right. Oh, and that's focused on the Valley. So arguably he was really talking to Google. We're coming for your lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also
he was at this time
VCs
probably negotiating with Apple.
Right. Exactly. Like there's what he's showing is business model and why this is a viable.
Good point.
Whatever. I'm coming for Google's lunch.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he's not telling the truth.
No, right.
He's saying what he needs. CEOs say what they need to keep the stock price where it is and make as many opportunities for the company as possible.
The truth is another thing no one cares about anymore, apparently, right? Like, I mean, this is the whole world is nuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the ideal time for AI.
Yes.
Couldn't have happened at a better time. To a less educated populace, it's perfect.
Hey, it's me, Leo Laporte. I hope you've enjoyed this little snippet from Windows Weekly. If you want to see more and want to catch the whole show, you can subscribe in your favorite podcast client or visit our website, twit.tv/WW. And of course, there's links right below me.